Hot Takes with Toast brought to you by Siegfried and Jensen with 30 years of serving Utah. Oh, we got hot takes this morning, PK. People are mad. Will Hardy went on selfishness after the latest loss, saying shots were forced. Stats don't mean bleep. What is going on with the team?
Stats don't mean I don't care about your individual stats. I don't care how many points you score. I don't care what you post on Instagram. It doesn't matter. It's a team sport. You play to win. We have to nip this in the bud now because I've said this before and I'll say it again. There will not be free minutes in this program. And so you're either going to start learning and you're going to start playing the right way and you're going to start participating with your teammates or you're not going to play.
I'm glad I wasn't in the room. I'm glad I wasn't in the room for that. I might have started giggling inappropriately.
I would have stood up and applauded.
I like Mad Will Hardy.
So do I. I totally agree. I'm sick of all this fucking and kissing. You're getting your butts beat. You suck. When are you going to get out of it? And it's every night's a reunion, and it's just lovey-dovey.
I don't care what you post on Instagram.
Does winning matter at all anymore?
Nope, it really doesn't. Mark, this team has essentially quit on the season since the trades. The organization has put Hardy in an impossible situation. I mean, if you're going to tank, then go all in. This is the second season the Jazz have dragged their feet on the tanking process.
I can see that line of thinking.
Our placer, oh, yeah.
That was a masterpiece of dog shit.
We got to keep the best of Will Hardy. We got to keep that file growing. He's got more gems coming. I can feel it.
Well, hopefully not. Hopefully they were winning.
Maybe they'll be gems when they win, but...
No, you don't get irritated when you win.
You can.
But you don't.
You used to talk about that with Jerry Sloan all the time. He'd coach him harder when they won. That's when he'd be nitpicking. And then
yeah, but that it was concocted. This is real.
Oh, this is real. I'm not sure the other was concocted, but this is definitely real. Jason says, ask Ainge. He demoralized the team 2 years in a row. Players just want their trade value and free agent value to increase, and stats do that.
Well, Ainge is 65 now, turned 65 yesterday, so he's got a whole new perspective on life.
Yeah? That changed everything?
Oh, yeah. You just wait. Not that I know.
But I've been told.
I'm not 65. But I like the aggressive attitude that he's taking because he's responsible for getting this team to win, and I'm not going to hold him accountable for not winning. I'm not going to hold him accountable for not winning. I don't know if he's a great coach. I know the people that get paid like to say, oh, yeah, he's going to. Well, until I see you in a playoff, I'm going to withhold judgment, for better or worse. I'm not saying he couldn't be a great coach and he won't be a great coach. All
but
that
you
is
just have zero
possible.
information to go on as far as on the biggest stage.
Right.
Can he make the adjustments that we know are required when you're playing 7-game playoff series?
Right.
And since he hasn't been in one, how can you know that for sure?
Yeah, he's fine. I mean, I'm not advocating any type of action against his job whatsoever.
Of what we've seen from the start of 2 seasons when expectations are low until the trade deadline when key guys were traded, they have either, depending on who you are, they've either met or exceeded expectations. And under the theory that coach's job is to get the most out of the talent.
That's it.
I think he's done that, and then they hit the trade deadline. And you do get how players take the cue from the front office. Well, we're not trying to win. Now, the front office would debate that. The front office would denounce that. The front office would say, we are trying to win. But right now, they're valuing the long term over the short term.
Are they trying to win?
They're having...
we can debate that they're trying to win. The front office is trying to win?
Because the definition of the timeline matters. In the short run... They're not trying to win.
We're talking about now. I'm not talking about in 2027. Who cares about that?
That's what they're talking about when they make the trades.
But I'm talking about now.
And that's why we can debate it.
I don't think it is debatable.
Well, if you define it as now, but they're defining it as long term.
Well, are you trying to win? Win is a present tense word.
They're trying to win in the long run.
Right.
They're not trying to win right now.
That's not debatable.
What's debatable is people leave out the timeline. You're right. The rest of the season,
we understand that
win.
These moves are made to have winning down the line. And I'm fine with it. But you cannot argue that they're trying to win now. They sat Collins. Yep. He can't play the second night.
Nope. He was rested. He was exhausted. All the running and jumping. He was spent.
Where are you thorough statues, Mark Eden, on and on and on and on.
Those days are gone. Old man shakes fist at clouds. Get off my lawn.
Well, then Thurls, he should be gassed. He played more than 82 one year.
You had an 84-game season. The rest of the league was playing 82.
He should sit out the rest of the year.
Thurl got traded.
15 games left. He's gassed, man.
He started with the Jazz in a front-loaded schedule. He finished with the Wolves in a back-loaded schedule.
I want my broadcasters only doing partial games anyway. That's what this organization tends to do.
Melody says, you're coaching a tanking team. Hopefully none of this is a surprise. The team that knows all of this is in street clothes, on the bench, or playing in Toronto and Detroit.
Oh, I would say Cleveland and Minnesota, too.
Yeah, right. Spread it out.
I would say the Knicks.
New York. Yeah, add the Knicks in there because Bogey got moved.
Yeah. But I do think, though, that they're not trying to win now. So be it. There's no point in arguing. We might as well just BYU should do away with the honor code. And they should play Sundays. Stuff that's not going to happen. It's a waste of time to argue. So they're not trying to win right now. We've accepted it. We got 15 games to go. Get the draft pick or use the draft pick as a trade bait. Whatever you do, try to improve the team. I still, in the final analysis, I have confidence in Jay-Z. I have confidence in Ainge. I have confidence in Ryan Smith that they'll get this thing right. I really believe that. And sure, I waver from time to time as the losses pile up, but they're going big picture, and I give them credit for sticking to it. Now, I can argue that they should have gone all in like the first poster that you said, and
yes.
but that's a debate for another day. But I don't think this reflects what Hardy's comments. The statement on Facebook and the Hardy comments is right now, and you have to nip it in the bud. And so I really, really appreciate what he's doing. He's setting the line with these guys. This is the way we're going to play under my regime. And until I don't have my regime here, this is the way we're going to play. And if you don't play this way, I'm sitting your butt. Steve Cleveland's going to come up in 45 minutes. And I remember talking to him about this in his day at BYU. He had a guard who wouldn't pass the ball. He sat his butt, and the team got better. And you have to do that. So I respect and appreciate what he's saying. I do think it's got to be directed right at George. And I'm okay with George being a little bit off kilter or out of key because he's 20 years old. Learn it now. This is a great time to learn it. This is a great time for Hardy to teach him because there's no consequences in the standings. You're playing for nothing.
You're going to draft 9th or 10th.
Yeah, you're not in any form of playoff race.
Nope, that's over.
But I appreciate Hardy coming in furious. I think he was more furious Saturday than he was the masterpiece of dog bleep game. I think he was just commenting on that. Here, he was literally upset about it.
I see the masterpiece of dog bleep was just frustration. There's so many things.
He's just calling it like it is.
So many things went wrong all at once.
I don't think that the general public could see what he's talking about. Now we can. I think he had to articulate it. When you're getting your brains beat out by 50, the casual fan can see, boy, they really suck.
Right.
But here, that some dude was not running the offense the way we wanted and guys were not passing the ball, I think you have to have at least a modicum of discernment on basketball to understand that. I didn't see it personally because I got home. I got up Saturday morning and drove back. Mm-hmm. There was no need to stay in Vegas. So I was home, but I was watching conference tournament games more so than I was really studying jazz. I'm going to study it tonight because I don't have anything else to do.
There was a play that would have jumped out at you in the third quarter, and it had been a close first half. And Keontae George drove into the paint, and there were just bodies everywhere. And the smaller guy tried to shoot over the big guy, and the shot gets blocked. And they go the other way, and Conley hits a three. And some of that stuff, I think, would jump. But you're right. You've seen so much basketball and talked to many more coaches. You have more discernment than some average fan sitting in whatever seat in the arena. There were some plays in there that struck you as like, what are they doing here? Like, really? Keontae George driving into as much traffic as possible, getting his shot swatted? How's that helping? And then they don't get back. He's frustrated about a lot of things. I think you're right. The primary thing is Keontae. Nip it in the bud suggests it's something young that's just getting started. I think there were other guys who probably broke the offense and got their shots. This tough. Once somebody does it, it can sweep through a team. That's pretty easy, especially when the message from the front office is, we're not winning anything this year, guys. Because players don't take the long view like that. They don't usually have that long to take the long view. Rosters turn over in the NBA all the time. It's part of the reason all those guys are out there hugging. They either played AAU ball together or a college ball, or they were on the same teams last year, or they will be next year. Players are moving all the time.
Now, is George posting on Instagram? Where did that come from?
That part I don't know.
Yeah. That he mentioned that.
But here's the thing. All these guys are on social media, so he probably...
And Instagram is, for players, that's the default
huge.
So Will, I combined Hardy and Hill.
Yeah.
We got Hill. Is he checking their Instagram? Something must have
something's going on there. Yeah, I don't know what it is.
Something was shown to him, maybe a guy trying to go up and make a big play on their Instagram feed, and he perceives that as them like showboating in a way, I guess. And obviously that added to his furor about this.
Yeah, it was awesome. That was the best speech he's given in his career, and it's short. It's only not even 2 full seasons. But since his tenure as a Jazz head coach, that was laying down the law.
I think we both think that, if anything, he lays down the law in private. You can see a little bit of it sometimes on the sideline, either in timeouts or when something's happening in the game. But when he comes into the postgame, he puts the best positive spin on it. He goes to bat for the guys no matter who made what mistake and lost what game. He's pretty positive
that
and
was sweet.
upbeat. Yeah, it was also different.
And
So I enjoyed it.
I'm all for it.
And I also think it's more of the truth.
I'm all for the truth.
Yeah.
Always. And the thing about it, too, it's fun and games for us.
Yep.
We're a little different because it's employment.
Yeah,
the average fan, it should
Yep.
be totally fun and games. But it's not fun and games for him.
No.
This is not jacking around here. This is about winning basketball. And it's important that you follow the proper way to win games. This is real life for him. For the rest of us, and us being a little bit of an exception, but for the most of the fans and our wonderful group of listeners, whom I love dearly, just as much as DJ, that
maybe more.
In a different way. Mm-hmm. I don't coddle. I love them truthfully. I don't try to suck up to them.
Is there a song about that? My Truthful Love?
I don't know. But I'm gonna
work on that.
I'm gonna give them the truth as I see it, and they're gonna either like it or dislike it, but they're gonna respect it, and I'm gonna respect their opinion too. To have him do this is what I want, because this matters to him. It matters a whole heck of a lot. He's still only 36 years old? I mean, conceivably, we've seen this plenty of times. A coach goes through a rebuild, gets them to a certain level, and then gets cut loose.
Oh, high-profile coaches.
Yeah, right.
With much better resumes than him.
And so...
how about Doug Collins?
Obviously, it's Collins and who else? There's one other guy.
Del Harris.
Steve Kerr.
Steve Kerr.
Yeah. No, I'm thinking the guys who get the reward.
Oh, okay. So Mark Jackson to Steve Kerr.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
And so it's conceivable, I don't think it will happen, but it's conceivable this could be his only head coaching job. Like you got a shot here, and who's to say that it'll continue? So I appreciate his professionalism and his determination to say what he said and correct the stuff. I'm not really alarmed by it, because I don't know that George, if he's talking largely or even exclusively, I don't think that he has a pattern of just, it's about me, fellas, and I only care about me. He's 20 years old. He's still learning to play the game at this level. So be it. Now, obviously, I would think to me that Will has already talked to him about this, and this isn't the first time, and now he's going public with it. Or whomever. I don't think he's just going to blurt it out without having discussed it
because
with the guys.
I think he's been very careful and very reserved about blurting stuff out. So when he finally does blurt something out like this, I think there is background to it. And I think he has gone to bat for them and said positive stuff about them, even when there was negative stuff that could have been said.
Well, now he's pulling him, he's pinch hitting him. If he's gone to bat for him.
We're going all baseball analogies.
Yeah. And let's see. Does Keontae have 2 strikes?
Nah.
He's down 0-2 right now.
He's got 1.
I would think so. The guy's too much of a talent.
Yeah. And there's been too much praise along the way that's legitimate. You know, there are situations where he wants Keontae to pull the trigger. And he's been really specific about them. And, you know, on the record in front of microphones and cameras and everything, when he's running a pick and roll and he's got a chance to shoot an early 3 because the player goes under and the big sinks, he's got to take it. He's got to take it. So it's not like every shot's a bad shot. But, you know, it'd be interesting, and it won't happen, it would be interesting to sit with the coach and have him say, this is what we're looking for, this is what we're not looking for. And I think some of the stuff is obvious. If you saw that highlight of him going into the trees and getting swatted, you'd be thinking, yeah, there's no way coach was happy with that. that just couldn't be the plan.
You don't think he saw the forest?
Couldn't see the forest for the trees.
Okay.
He didn't see the trees or the forest. I think that's just time to face palm the old forehead right there. What are you doing? What are you doing? You're not getting the team any advantage with that.
Yeah,
and you're not.
fine.
And quite frankly, you're not helping your stats with that either.
I want to see him continue to be aggressive. If he's aggressive sometimes in the wrong, so be it.
DJ and PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Steve Cleveland's coming up at the top of the hour. More on the NCAA Tournament March Madness next. Stay with us.
This is Jake Scott and Ben Anderson.
The one and only Mitch Harper.
Do you have any added concern about BYU's ability to win a first-round game after what you saw?
For sure. I mean, BYU, their history in the NCAA tournament is just not good, period. I mean, so that's why I think if they got one win in the NCAA tournament, that's a resounding success. But, you know, they could be an upset watch because if the iron's unkind for them, they could be had. And, you know, BYU is not the most athletic team. So, yeah, I mean, BYU's got to play at a high level if they want to, you know, make a run. And what's interesting about BYU is they could be a team that gets to the Sweet 16, or they can get even farther because they've shown they can go up against some really good teams and perform well. But it's just kind of a wide range of outcomes with this group. The ceiling can be pretty high, but the floor can be pretty low as well. So it's a unique dynamic, and we'll have to see how it all plays out.
Hear Jake Scott and Ben Anderson every day from 10 to noon on 97.5 The KSL Sports Zone.
The band of the day today is Maroon 5. It's Adam Levine's birthday. For all the live concerts and events in 2024, check out livenation.com. How old is Adam Levine now?
50.
About that. Yeah, that seems about right. NCAA tournament seedings are out. Cougars and Aggies are disappointed. But will they care if they win?
Of course not.
All that disappointment is something to whine about for 3 days.
And I don't think they're justified in being disappointed.
Because
you have to have a history of success. It's on you to create the history. Or in this case, your forefathers.
It's on the program to create the history. Mm-hmm. The players who came before you.
Yeah.
Well, this is a BYU program that has the moniker of being the most having the most appearances in the NCAA tournament without a Final Four berth.
I'm going to tell you right now, they're going to break that this year.
They are not, but 31 and counting.
Why do you say that? You just told us how you're all about the truth of the audience and just yank their chain.
Because they know when I'm messing around.
I really don't think they do.
They do.
I think
22 years and they don't know?
No, they don't.
That's bull.
No, you're very good at disguising when you're messing around.
Oh, come on.
You are. You're excellent at it.
I do think they would have gotten in if they had Brandon Davies that year.
That one will always, man, they're in the Sweet 16 and they lose in overtime.
And the
other things overtime, like the 4 teams were super even, and he was such a good player.
He was.
You got to think, with all these OT games, he elevates, I mean, you never know, but
no
he
doubt in my
elevates
mind.
his team. And there are all these OT games, a bucket would have meant everything.
Jimmer and Tyler Hawes was a youngster doing his. Oh no, was he on that team? Kyle Collinsworth.
Yeah,
was doing his thing, and he was such a jack of all trades kind of guy.
It was a really good team.
Yeah, well, they ended up with
even
3
without
guys
him.
playing the NBA off that team,
and that bracket that they were in got all kinds of jumbled up. And
right, they would have won them, but they didn't, and we know what happened. It's unfortunate, and yada yada. But I think you got to have some level of historical success. And neither of these programs don't. So do it now. I think for BYU, this is an absolute must-win. If you don't win this game, something's wrong.
Duquesne's at 11, 6 versus 11. You got the advantage, and you play in a better league. Don't we have to take everything that came before now and put it in a box over here? That was the before times. Now you're in the Big 12. You've been toughened up by Big 12 venues, the arenas you've gone, the competition you faced, the coaches you faced. Night after night, week after week, you haven't been through something like this. You never been in a league that had 8 teams.
I've been in a league for 8 teams. Oh, gosh.
Thank you. Even though you were mocking me.
How was I mocking him, Yuck?
Well, the laughter is your first clue.
I'm laughing because he's laughing. Blame it on him.
You did the impersonation, trying to get him laugh. You know what triggers him.
We love impersonating you.
I was just amplifying for emphasis.
Mocking, but amplifying,
you
sure.
were trying to make.
Spinning like a top, not telling the truth, comma, again.
I'm right there, man.
Listeners were all here. They heard it all.
All of your points, your salient points. I agree with you. And that all adds up to a must-win. I've never really felt this way in the 30 years that I've been here.
Oh, this is totally different.
BYU has been in the tournament.
How many times have you and I gotten on a plane for an NCAA tournament game, Utes, Cougars, Aggies, all 3 of them, and thought, I am getting on this plane to watch them lose tomorrow, and then I will get on a plane and come back. There is no reason to pack a lot of clothes for this. We're not gone very long. We are turning around and coming back.
I think they're going to be in Omaha
and it's been spot
till
on.
Sunday. I think they're going to win. So it's not like I'm saying, oh, my gosh. I'm just saying you better win. I think that you need to win to validate the success of this season. This season has been a smashing success relative to expectation, but it has to be cashed in or else it'll be a disappointment.
A fraud.
Yeah, you can't lose as a 6 seed.
That's weird to put 30 games on the line and say one is a fraud. But you know what? Welcome to college basketball. Happens all the time. Ask Purdue, Utah State's possible second-round opponent.
Well, ask Irvine.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, they had a great season, and now they're in the NIT playing Utah because they lost one game in the conference tournament. And a completely mediocre Long Beach State team got hot for the right week.
Right.
And they're in.
NC State.
Oh, yeah. Nobody believes NC State.
DJ Horn scored 29 points. Jake Scott, I know you're driving in, and you say, what about ASU? Yeah, the same team that beat Utah twice, so shut the hell up. And here, DJ Horn was their leading scorer for the Sun Devils last year, but he got NIL to go to NC State, and there he is.
Ex-ASU players had a you in the conference tournaments. They were all over the place.
Right, because NIL.
They were doing great.
Good for them. So, you can get hot. BYU, I can't come up with a reason. There's no reason why they should lose this game. They do not even have to shoot well. That's been the big thing. And I get it. You're nervous about the shots going in, and obviously against Tech, they didn't go in, and on the other side, Tech did make the shots, and you got run out of the gym. And then they got blown out by Houston, and then Iowa State blew out Houston, which shocked me to that level. And you had Iowa State down in their place. Was it senior night, if I remember? On senior night in Ames, you had them, man.
You had 3 possessions, down 1, and you turned it over 3 straight times.
So that just shows me that you're a quality team, even though you lost that game. And now you've got to beat these guys. You've got to be playing Saturday, who I assume would be Illinois.
I think of the Atlantic 10 as the Mountain West Conference of the East. They have multiple good teams,
worse.
Multiple leagues. This year, it's certainly worse. You think big picture it's worse?
Most years.
Big picture, I think, is about the same. This year, the Mountain West is definitely...
How big picture do we go? Because we go big picture back...
I mean, can you go back to when Davidson was an Elite 18 with Steph Curry?
Yeah, that was like...
That was a long time ago. I get it.
Davidson and Steph Curry, that is Caitlin Clark to what women's basketball is.
Yeah.
I mean, phenomenal player, but can they continue? Maybe Iowa can. We'll see.
There are teams in that league that have had NCAA tournament success. St. Joseph's has had times, not so much right now.
St. Joe's did have a run. Did have a run.
UMass at times when they've been cheating, they've made their runs
way back.
That's going way back for them. Yeah. I think of it as the next tier. It's not a power league, but on the eastern side of the country, once you get past the power leagues, I think it's the next tier. Like the Mountain West is on this side of the country. This is the sixth place team out of the A-10.
Yeah.
They're not that good. They're hot.
They lost 6 out of 7.
They're hot.
At one stretch.
Yeah, they opened the conference season 0-5, which I think the two stretches overlap there. They had a problem. Now they fixed it. They've won 8 straight. So the two things to fear are they're hot and they'll keep rolling.
I have no fear.
And they
but fear itself.
And thank you, FDR. And BYU goes in and doesn't shoot a three.
BFD.
But
I don't care about FDR.
Can't shoot
BFD.
the three in this game. Does Duquesne have enough size?
No.
I mean, they got one good big guy, but BYU's got multiple big guys. Go ahead and give them in foul trouble.
It's a factory. It's an assembly line of big guys.
Hey, these two Fusenis that are facing off in this game, Drame, the one for Duquesne's 6'7".
But he's 215.
I know he's not necessarily as big, but hey, he's got the height.
Our Foos has got a leg that weighs 215.
Probably true.
Don't you think
called him a
you've
barrel.
watched? How many times have you watched Foos play? How many college games have you seen Foos play now, Yak?
I would say every one of his career at this point.
So when Foos gets a skinny 6'7" guy inside,
that's called lunch.
Pump fake, pivot, off the glass and in.
Yeah,
how many times?
No, he doesn't pivot. He just goes in.
He goes right through him.
Yeah. He can go right through them also.
Wait, no, that's what he. With the guys at that size, he goes right through them.
He's 215.
Now with the Mahorchich guy, it's a little different. He'd do the pivot and pump fake him and then go up underneath him.
I mean, he's basically.
If the threes aren't going in,
their
give it to
Foos is a smaller Waterman.
If you miss 3 threes, give it to Foos.
Or take it to the basket.
That too. Plenty of guys can drive.
BYU's guards got to be thinking, if we're not shooting it well, we got to attack the basket.
Right. They got to own these guys.
They're 8.5-point favorites.
Yeah, I can see that.
It opened at 7.5, so it's gone up.
The smart money.
I'm telling you what I did yesterday.
I know you
All
did.
the BYU fans loitering,
calling your buddies down there in the desert.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I went up a point. It's probably going to go up another half a point.
Are you telling us something?
I'm talking to Hank at 10:07 today. I got to scoot.
Hank?
Mm-hmm. That's what he calls. They told me to call him.
Nice. His alias.
Right. He's known as Hank the Bank.
DJ PK, it's 97.5 The Zone. Steve Cleveland.
Just made that up, man.
Yeah, you're a poet, man.
Really good.
The Lake Poets. He's the Salt Lake Poet.
I'm going to make a fake name. Then I go Hank, and then I realize, hey, that rhymes with bank. And we're talking money here.
Poet laureate of the KSL Sports Zone is Patrick Kinahan.
Absolutely.
More NCAA Tournament with Steve Cleveland at the top of the hour. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I present...
This is JJ and Alex.
Utah fans sitting here watching their program be mediocre, and they've got to look and see Utah State bring back 0 points from last year. They have to go get a new coach from a Big Sky team, and Utah State's a top 25 program. They won an outright Mountain West Conference championship in one of the best conferences in the country. And Utah State, with 0 points from last year, with a brand new head coach in Danny Sprinkle, did what they've done this year, and their historic run continues. And Utah fans got to sit back and watch that. And then they got to look to their rival to the south. They got to look at BYU, a team that they were laughing and thinking, man, they're going to get crushed in their first year in the Big 12. What does Mark Pope do? They finished 5th in the Big 12.
Catch JJ and Alex afternoons from 3 to 6. Presented by G2G Bars on 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone. And now, your Rocky Mountain Chevy dealer strong play of the weekend.
5 seconds remaining. Finds Imbang, crosses over into Noling. Noling, locked it in, and the Bulldogs win! The Bulldogs win! Yale goes to the March Madness! Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness!
Oh my God!
Matt Noling! What a shot!
They're mobbing Noling! They will go to the monitor to review, but it looks like the Yale Bulldogs are going to March Madness!
Wow!
Yale beats Brown at the buzzer in the Ivy League tournament title game. That is your Chevy Strong play of the game. They will play it this afternoon. When they call for it, you got your chance to actually, they won't play it. They'll call for it, and you'll have to tell them what it was, and you can win fabulous prizes. JJ and Alex will have that after 3 o'clock today. PK, you were down in Las Vegas, and you hear stuff, you talk to people, and people don't want their names on it, but a lot of what you heard seems to match, I think, what the consensus is up here as far as the future of the coaches. We can start with Danny Sprinkle at Utah State, and the Aggies apparently putting a massive offer in front of him, but then we haven't heard anything. Pretty much everybody I know thinks that means Sprinkle's going to Washington. There doesn't seem to be much hope of running it back one more year after this sensational year with him.
Yeah, I was loitering around their team hotel.
Great. Somebody call the cops on you?
Trench coat and a hat so nobody would recognize me.
Good.
Glasses inside, kept bumping into things. It's dark in those casinos. That was literally the only time I went to a casino, when I was over there at their hotel doing some interviews. But yeah, I did talk to people, that's for sure.
And is any of that take of the people sitting up here?
No, I think
base?
that they were prepared to move on. Yeah. But what are you going to do? I mean,
Washington's got a lot of Big Ten money. They got rich boosters up there. If a school with the resources of Washington comes for a coach in the Mountain West, they're probably going to get him.
Well, yeah. I mean, Jed Fish left, had no qualms about doing it, even though he liked his situation and was building something in the desert in Tucson.
Washington came for them. Yeah. They came for him. And
they threw money at him that was substantially more than what he was making in Tucson. So he said goodbye, and then all those people screamed he was loyal, now he's disloyal. Well, who retires as the Tucson football coach? And not very many people.
No.
I don't think of anybody, actually.
Their best coach got fired.
Yeah. I mean, Lute Olson did in basketball, but that's a national program.
Yeah.
And he convinced all the Blue Hairs to come to the games. And they've got great attendance at all times there. So he built a national power. Good for him. We'll see. And I've also heard Lloyd's name being thrown around, too.
Lloyd Cole?
No.
Oh.
Tommy Lloyd at Arizona.
For?
Possibly UC Los Angeles.
Mm.
If, what's-his-face, Cronin goes to Michigan. So, yeah, I heard Pope and Sprinkle's name being mentioned a lot. It's that time of year.
Yeah. The coaching carousel heats up.
And they're going to...
Pope and Louisville, any other things other than Pope for Pope? Or Louisville was the one?
Well, at the time that I had had these conversations, the couple of jobs weren't open yet. So I don't think that Michigan would be interested. Or... I mean, he may be interested in Michigan, but I don't know. But that the Pitino, the dad, not Richard, Rick Pitino, had been pushing, or at least maybe not pushing, but had been advocating for Mark. And Mark, he did great work this year, man. There's no doubt about it. He's a polarizing figure, but he's also a charismatic figure too. He can charm you. He knows how to work that. But at the same time, he's got a close relationship here with Ryan Smith. He and his wife were sitting with Smith and his wife at the ball game, was a couple of weeks ago. I know they vacationed together in Europe. So does he have an influence? I mean, I don't know that Ryan Smith can just say, I'm going to open my checkbook here, because I don't know that BYU wants to do that. We know that there's been people who've been wanting to donate money earmarked, and they want it earmarked essentially to the general fund as opposed to the football locker room to just randomly cite in a potential example or whatever it might be. The baseball locker room, who knows, whatever. And that's not what they do. And but he's in the Big 12 now. Before I'd heard his name when he first got there, and he had that good season. I heard his name out there, and I heard he was pushing his name out there. But that was in the West Coast. They're in a different situation now.
They're definitely in a better league. That can be a positive. What does he think in the long run? Does he think they have the resources to do this repeatedly in the Big 12? So that's a question mark. And then Louisville's got a history that says you can win a national title at Louisville.
Do you know what,
and at BYU, they, as Jacques pointed out earlier in the show, they've never been to a Final Four. So there is a national platform that could be available there.
It's bigger. And you know what I heard? This is outrageous. Louisville, in the city of Louisville, afternoon shows, drive time afternoon, they have 4 sports stations that talk about Louisville basketball. 4. I heard that.
Now, that's funny because for a while we had 3 here in Salt Lake, which caused a certain Pac-12 coach to lose his stuff.
Jeff Tedford, are you bleeping me? Another Salt Lake station? And he said it to me off the air, and I burst out laughing.
Because the Bay Area had at that point 2.
And I don't know that they came to Pac-12 Media
I
Day.
think that they did not.
Right.
I think it was 0 for 2. They had 2, but didn't have any there.
Right, and we had 3.
And he's got 3. Now he says 3 from Salt Lake, and they're all there.
Right. Yeah. So we'll have to see about it. Now, I haven't confirmed, but I heard that just the point that somebody's making to me is that's how much of a big deal Louisville basketball is. And so if it's that big of a deal, you better win. So
now it'll be
pluses and minuses too. Sure, they've won national titles.
I was about to say,
the intensity and the expectation are higher.
Do they have the resources now? They've been trying to build up that football program, and they've done a good job over 25 years. So if you go there, do you think you're going to have the resources you need to meet the expectations that exist?
Will, but you better do it.
DJ and PK, all questions to be ironed out after those teams play their NCAA tournament games. When we come back, Steve Cleveland will run the coaching carousel questions past him and get his thoughts on were these teams seated properly and will they win? Plus, what about Keontae George and the shots? We'll get to that next. Stay with us.